Day 783 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 3737, count subarrays with majority element 1. The difficulty level is medium, but don't worry because you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as possible. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. You are given an integer array nums and an integer target. Return the number of subarrays of nums in which target is the majority element. The majority element of a subarray is the element that appears strictly more than half of the times in that subarray. All right, y'all, so that may seem a little bit confusing at first. So let's go ahead and take a look at these examples just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. Now, before we get into example 1, let's look at the definition of a subarray. It says a subarray is a contiguous non-empty sequence of elements within an array. So let's take a look at example 1. In example 1, our input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 2, 3, target equals 2. The output is 5, meaning there are 5 subarrays that where the target is the majority element, right? We have 5 subarrays in here where the target is the majority element, right? So the first subarray would be just this right here, just 2. Boom. Second subarray would be just this 2. Boom, because remember there's 2 2s, so they each get their own subarray. Then the next subarray would be these 2 2s together. That's the third one. Boom. Then the fourth one would be this subarray right here. And then finally, the last one would be this subarray right here. So y'all, boom. And all of those subarrays, they have them listed right here. And all of these subarrays, you can see 2 is the majority element, meaning it appears more than half of the times in the subarray, right? So half of this subarray would be 1.5, right? But this 2 appears twice. That's more than 1.5. Same with here. This is the whole subarray. This is the whole subarray. This would be 2 is greater than 1.5 again, and so on and so on. So let's take a look at example 2. So in example 2, our input nums equals an array of integers 1, 1, 1, 1, target equals 1. The output is 10. It says all 10 subarrays have 1 as the majority element. So we could go through this, but just trust when they say it's 10 of them, right? And each one, this is 4 right here. We have 4 off the back with each one of these ones, right? Boom. Then we have 6 right here with this one and this one. Boom. Then we have 7 right here like this, or 8 like this. Then we could, so on and so on and so on. Boom. Then we have example 3. So in example 3, we have our input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 3, target equals 4. There is no 4 in this array, so we return 0. Explanation says target equals 4 does not appear in nums at all. Therefore, there cannot be any subarray where 4 is the majority element. Hence, the answer is 0, y'all. So boom. Now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. The solution is not that difficult at all. Now, first thing we need to do, we're just going to get nums.count. So we're going to say let n equal nums.count. Now we need a frequency array which will be used to count how many times each prefix balance value has appeared. So we declare a variable called freq. Set that equal to an array of integers. Come outside of that, open up the parentheses. It's going to be repeating, colon, 0, comma, count, colon, 2 times n plus 1. Boom. Now we need to get our prefix value. So it will be +1 for every target encountered and -1 for every non-target encountered. A positive balance means there are no more target values than there's non-target values in the current prefix. So we are going to track that by coming right here, declare a variable called current p, current p, and we'll set that equal to 0. Boom, and before processing any elements, the empty prefix has a balance 0. So we're going to say freq, square bracket n, we'll set that equal to 1. Boom. Now we're going to track how many valid starting positions exist for subarrays ending at the current index. So we'll come underneath this, declare a variable called less count, set that equal to 0. Then the final answer, we need to store that, which will be the total number of majority subarrays. So we'll declare a variable called total subarrays, and we'll set that equal to 0 to start. Now we're going to come right here and we're going to start iterating. So we're going to say for nums in nums, we're going to open up the bracket, and if the current number equals target, we'll treat it as if it was +1 to the balance. So we'll say if num equals target, we'll open up the brackets, and we are going to, for every previous prefix with the same balance, we're going to contribute a new valid subarray. So we're going to say we're going to say less count plus equals freak square bracket current p plus n. Boom. Then we're going to increase the balance, and we're going to come underneath this, and we're going to say current p plus equals 1. Boom. Then we're going to come right here. We're going to say else. We're going to open up the brackets, and we're going to treat non-target values as -1 in the balance. So we're going to say current p minus equals 1. Boom. Then we're going to remove contributions that are no longer valid after decreasing the balance. So we're going to say less count minus equals freak square bracket current p plus n. Boom. Now all currently valid starting positions generate majority subarrays ending at this index. So we're going to come underneath this, and we'll say total subarrays plus equals less count. Boom. Then we're going to record that this balance has now been seen. So we're going to say freak square bracket current p plus n, come outside of that, and we're going to say plus equals 1. Boom. Now we're going to return the total number of subarrays where target is the majority element by coming down here, and all we have to do is say return total subarray, y'all. Boom. Sorry, y'all. That should be all she wrote, y'all. Let's give it a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it. It's accepted, so let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted. Let's see, and look at that, y'all. 0 milliseconds beats 100% of users. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to see, y'all. So before we go, make sure you get one more look at the code. This is the top part. This is the bottom part. And yeah, y'all, with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.